This is your review for your polynomials test, adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, and factoring all of the above. Adding and subtracting should be really easy. All you got to do is look for the like terms. So, for example, here's a p squared. Do I have any other p squared? Yes, I do. And this is the operation I do, whatever's in the middle. So 5 plus 2 gives me 7, and my variable p squared stays the same. Okay, the next one, use different colors. If you need to, use different symbols, like I can box this. Here's a -3, it's just a number. Is there any other that's just a number here? Nope, so that's a -3. Because -3 and nothing else is -3. And then the other one guy that's left is a -3p cubed. There's nothing to combine it with. You can leave them just like that if you want. The proper order would be going from biggest variable to least variable. -3p cubed plus 7p squared minus 3 would be your final answer. Okay, looking at this next one. Same thing, here's an a cubed. I also have a -4a cubed. So this is like 1 minus -4 would give you 5. Then in the middle, I have a -2a squared, and here's a 3a squared. So -2 minus 3, -5a squared. All right, here in the next one, I'm going to start with, well, here's a number 4. Are there any other just numbers? Yep, so 4 plus 2 gives you 6. And then n cubed, 2 plus 5 is 7. So 7n cubed. And again, these will probably be flip-flopped on a multiple choice answer. Okay, on this one, here's a 4n. And there's another 4n, 4n minus 4n. Well, those are just nothing. They go away. For this part here, -3n cubed and 3n cubed. We're subtracting them. -3 minus 3 gives you -6n cubed. 5 through 8, very similar. Only difference is we just add some more terms. So here's a -x to the 4th. Positive 7x to the 4th, so that gives me 6x to the 4th. 13x to the 5th, under x to the 5th here, yep, there's 5, I'm adding them, so that's 18x to the 5th. And then 6 and 6 for the x cubes will be 12x cubed. And again, order doesn't really matter at this point. R cubes to begin with, so 9 plus -2 is just 7r cubed. Next, I have an r squared, 5r squared, and -8r squared. Add them together, it's -3r squared. And here's my r and r, which I could use some, which gives you 20r. Okay, number 17, combining like terms again. 13n squared, here's a -13n squared. Again, it's asking you to add them. So those are just going to go away because that goes to 0n squared. With the next one, here's an 11n. Here's a -3n, so I combine them by adding, because that's what we have here. So that gives you 8n. And then the guy at the end, -2n to the 4th and -6n to the 4th, combine together to give you -8n to the 4th. Last one here, here's a -7x to the 5th. Here's my x to the 5th in the second guy. -7 plus +5 is -2. Next thing I have a 14, just a number. I don't have a number anywhere else, so I can just put plus 14, and that guy's gone. Next I have a -2x. Here's something that has an x over here. -2 plus 7 is +5x. And the only thing that I haven't moved yet is this 10x to the 4th, so I'm just going to tack it on, plus 10x to the 4th. And again, order doesn't really matter. Your answer key will probably say -2x to the 5th, plus 10x to the 4th, plus 5x, plus 14. So we're going in decreasing order. All right, next on the agenda is the FOILing and multiplying. So with this guy, you just have one monomial in front. We need to multiply it through. So this will give us 12, because 6 times 2 is 12. I have 2 v's for multiplying the first guy. And then the second guy, 6 times 3 is 18, and I have 1 v, so, or 18v. Next one, same thing, multiply it through. 7 times -5 is -35 with 1 v, and then minus 56 for the 7 times the 8. The rest of these are FOILing. First, outer, inner, and last. When you multiply the first, x times 6x is 6x squared. The outside, x times -2, -2x. Inside, -3 times -6x is -18x, and then -3 times -2, +6. Now what you should look for always is like terms here, normally in the middle term, so that will become, when you combine those, -20x, and the guys on the outside stay the same. This one, first, 8p times 6p is 48p squared. Outside, 8p times 2 is 16p. Inside, -2 times 6p is -12p. And then -2 times +2 is -4. Combine these like terms in the middle, that becomes just 4p. You got minus 4, and then 48p squared out in front. Same thing here, first, outer, inner, last. The first gives you 30p. The outer should give you negative 48. Actually, it should have been 30p squared, my apologies. 48p. Inside should be 4 times 5 is, or 8 times 5 is 40p. And then the last, 8 times negative 8 is negative 64. Combined like terms would be negative 8p in the middle. Everything else just comes down, no other like terms. Okay, number 14, something squared. That just means, anything squared means something times itself. So I'm just going to FOIL it like I have been doing. So x times x is x squared. For the outside, it's minus 4x. For the inside, it's minus 4x. And then for the last, it'll be negative 4. Negative 4 is positive 16. Combine these like terms to be negative 8x. Everything else stays the same. Okay, now these bottom ones are a little bit trickier because we have 3 guys in the second term. So what we got to do is we got to take the 4a to all 3 and then a 2 to all 3. So we're going to have 24a cubed. Then we're going to have minus 4a squared. And then for the last one, plus 8a. Now we need to do the same for the middle, or for the 2 going to each. So 2 times 6a squared, so that'll become 12a squared. The 2 times the negative a is negative 2a. And then 2 times 2 is 4. And now it's just combining like terms. 24a cubed, that didn't change. You have a negative 4a squared and a 12a squared, so that'll become plus 8a squared. Here's an 8a and a negative 2a, so that'll become positive 6a. And then there's nothing else to go with the 4, so it stays just as it is. Okay, same thing with this guy. 7k times k squared is 7k cubed. You have negative, that's negative 14k squared. That'll become plus 49k. And then now when I go with the inside, I'll change color to make it easier. Negative 3 times k squared is negative 3k squared. Negative 3 times negative 2k is positive 6k. And negative 3 times positive 7 is negative 21. Now again, combine your like terms. Nothing will combine with the 7k cubed. Nothing will combine with negative 21. However, I do have the negative 14k squared, negative 3k squared will give you negative 17k squared. And then a 49k and a 6k becomes a 55k positive. And there you have your multiplied answers. Okay, halfway home, factoring. Factoring, remember, we always just read it from right to left. What numbers multiply to this number, and in this case, add to give you that number. So what I'm going to do, always put your variable in each. Numbers multiply to 7 and add to 8 are 7 and 1. Bigger number always gets that sign. And then positive 7 times a positive 1 is the only thing that can get you to positive 7. Same thing here. Numbers are multiplied to 10 and add to 11. That would be 10 and 1. Bigger number gets that sign. Negative 10 times what kind of 1 gives you a positive 10? They both have to be negative. Okay, on 19. Numbers multiply to 90 and subtract 2. We assume that's a 1 there. So those numbers would be 10 and 9. Bigger number gets the positive in front. And now I need to multiply to give you negative 90, so that's why it's a minus 9. And number 20, factors of 12 that subtract to 4. Something I should mention, if you're unsure, write out all the factors. 1 times 12, 2 times 6, 3 times 4, those are all valid factors. Which one of those subtract to give you 4? That'd be this guy, 2 and 6. So put your n in each, 2 and 6. The bigger number gets that sign in front. And it needs to multiply to negative 12, so negative 2 times positive 6 gives you the negative 12 you need. Multiplying to 9 and adding to 10. A lot of people like to try to put 3 and 3 because they multiply to 9, but those two do not add to 10, so make sure you're paying attention. N in each, those numbers are 9 and 1. Bigger number gets the minus, and then that's also going to be minus because negative times negative gives you positive. 22, B in each. Multiply to 64 and add to 16. Those numbers would be 8 and 8. Bigger numbers should get the positive. Well, they're both equally big, so they both got to be positive. You would actually, because it's the same number of times itself, you probably want to put that it's that quantity squared. Okay, a couple more factoring. This one should be pretty straightforward. Numbers multiplying to 8, adding to 6 are 4 and 2 with a b in each. Bigger number gets the sign in front. Negative times negative gives you positive. 24, also very similar. Again, numbers that multiply to 8 and add to 6. 2 and 4 again. Bigger number gets the sign in front. This time they're both positive, except they weren't b's, they were technically n's. Okay, 25 and 26. If you have a number out in front, what you should first do is divide the entire thing by that number. So when you do that, you'd be left with n squared plus 3n minus 54, and you took a 2 out. So we're going to leave the 2 out in front. Now from there, what's left on the inside, you need to try to factor it. Numbers that multiply to 54 and subtract to 3 would be 9 and 6. The bigger number gets the sign in front, and it needs to be negative 54, so that's got to be a minus. Make sure you keep that 2 down in front. With this guy, when you divide by 5, meaning you pull the 5 out, you're left with n squared plus 2n plus 4. And now try to factor whatever is multiply to 4 and add to 2. Well, there are no such numbers. So this guy cannot be factored anymore. You're done right at this point. But you always got to try and see if you can factor it like you did in number 25. Okay, last ones here. What we need to do here is to simplify, we say using the words factor and cancel. So let me start with number 29. Remember, I cannot cancel if there's added terms going on, only factors. So looking at 29, what I need to do is I need to factor the top, and I need to factor the bottom. So I got x's everywhere. Up top, numbers that multiply to 12 and add to 8 are 6 and 2, just like we did on the last slide. We have a positive 6 and a positive 2. On the bottom, multiply to 18 and subtract to 3 are 6 and 3, positive 6 and negative 3. What you should see, there should be something in common, the x plus 6's, so your answer is what's left, x plus 2 over x minus 3. Okay, let's do the same thing for number 30 here. Up top and on the bottom, up top it's factors of 18 that add to 11, so that'll be 9 and 2. I'm going to need a negative 9 and then a negative 2 to make it positive 18. On the bottom, multiply to 8, subtract to 2, that would be 4 and 2 with an x in each. Bigger number gets the positive, and we need a negative answer in the end, so that's negative 2. Same thing, they cancel, x minus 9 over x plus 4. Now, jump back up to 27, 28. The one difference between these two guys up here versus the rest of this page is that there is no addition, there is no subtraction, anything like that. So what we can do, or what we can say, is that it's already factored. We can cancel right away. So first, what do they have in common? Well, they each have a p, so let's get rid of one of the p's. Now, I have a fraction, 16 over 28. How can I reduce that? Divide both top and bottom by 4. That'll leave you with 4 over 7, and I had a p left up top. That's it, you're done. Same thing here. They each have an n, so get rid of one of the n's, and then I can divide top and bottom both by 8. So when I do that, I should have 4 up top, 3 on the bottom, and I still had an n left behind. Okay, 31, 32, back to the old ones we were just doing, like 29 and 30. Factor top, factor bottom, see what cancels. Up top, numbers that multiply to 28 and subtract to 3 would be 7 and 4. Bigger number gets the sign in front, it's a minus 4. To make it negative 28. And then this one, difference of squares. Remember, you can read that as like b squared plus 0b minus 49. What numbers multiply to 49 and subtract to give you nothing? What number times itself gives you 49? That would be 7. And with difference of squares, you're always going to have one of each. So again, look at what you got. Something should be in common. It's the b plus 7. So you got b minus 4 over b minus 7. 32, as we wrap this up, factors of 40 subtracting to 3 on the top, and factors of 24 that add to 11 on the bottom. So on the bottom, you'd have 8 and 3, negatives in both. Bigger sign's got to be negative. Negative times negative gives you positive. Up top, numbers that multiply to 40 and subtract to 3 would be 8 and 5. Excuse me. Negative 8 for the top, because a bigger sign, or a bigger number gets signed in front. Then positive 5 to give you the negative in the end. V minus 8 will cancel out, leaving you with V plus 5 over V minus 3. There you have it. Best of luck. Take care of business.